Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today I've got two sets of top 8 deck lists to take a look at. Let me start by saying a happy new year to each and every one of you, and I hope it's every bit as epic as the last one was, especially as far as Lorcana goes, because I think we can all agree, while people will say it wasn't flawless, and yeah, fair credit, but I think it was an incredible first organised play year for Lorcana, so I'm super excited for what's to come. But yeah, we've got two sets of top 8 deck lists to take a look at. Now, one of these events was more recent. It was on the 29th of December, hosted by the Geekery QwestKC, and it was 1K. I'll be calling it QKC for the remainder. So this one was a bit more recent and had 41 players participating. And then the other one is from a little bit further back. This was on the 21st of December. It was 64 players, organised by Enter The Battlefield Oakville, and this was a 5K. I'll be calling this ETB for the remainder. But this set of lists from the 21st have only fully become available today, day of recording. I think some of the lists were there, but they were missing some, so it's still new data. So these lists are still from the tail end of last year, although again one of them only being a couple of days ago. So these aren't 2025 lists yet, but we'll get there hopefully very soon. We are of course getting closer and closer to the North American Championship, so hopefully there are some more events for us to take into account before that happens. But we've already had a respectable amount that we can take into account for my Ultra Data project that I will look to release probably on Wednesday or Thursday. It'll probably end up being Friday, speaking from experience, because it always takes me longer than I think it's going to. But I'm going to aim for Wednesday or Thursday, so that's to come along with any other events that do drop over the next couple of days. Just a quick bit of admin before we get into the main theme of the video. Some of you may know that recently I participated in the LCCC, the exhibition match to end it off, myself versus the Forbidden Mountains dreaded Dick Burns, and your boy was able to take a 2-1 victory, barely. There'll be a link down below to the Forbidden Mountain Twitch where you can watch the whole thing with commentary. I will be doing a video where I'll be talking all about the game and my the deck that I took and why, and kind of where I think RP sits in the format at the moment, because I haven't really done that for a while. Sets 1, 2, and 3 I was doing kind of not guides video, like not guides the way that some people are doing guides like on Metafire and stuff at the moment, but I was doing generally at least one video a set to talk about my opinion on Ruby Amethyst in the current meta game, and I didn't do that last set, and even set 4 I don't think I did a very detailed one, and the honest reason for that is just because I wasn't really finding the time to play. This set I have been able to play a lot more, so I feel a lot more confident in being able to make a video really talking about Ruby Amethyst and feeling like I have something to offer it. So that's why it hasn't happened for a while, because I didn't know how much I could really offer not a guide, but I suppose a guide like that. But yeah, I am planning on releasing a video where I'm going to talk all about my current iteration of Ruby Amethyst, the version that I took into the match with Dick Burns, and just going over the plays. And also there's going to be, I think I'm going to be a guest on the Forbidden Mountains channel in the coming soon, and they're going to be a guest on my channel as well, and we're going to talk about the whole Baker versus Dick Burns / Forbidden Mountain rivalry. And to those of you that have been enjoying that, super grateful. I did spend a lot of time making a video promo that was played before the match. If you're a wrestling fan, then this will very much speak to you. I'm not going to play too much of it, and it's got the Limp Bizkit song My Way over the background of it, which kind of like a lot of the video is kind of made to match the music. And there's like raw audio file for like showing speaking and stuff like that. So I'm not going to show it in this video, but if you follow me on Twitter, then you'll certainly be able to find it. And yeah, if you're a wrestling fan in particular, then I think you'll really enjoy it. And even if you're not, a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So yeah, it's probably my favourite thing I've ever made. To be honest. But nonetheless, I'll talk all about that at another point in time. But I did think it was appropriate, considering our victory, to bring out a retirement for one video only. The championship title belt, which I will proudly wear for this video, but we're going to get into it. A shout out to the channel sponsor, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive rates, then check out Cardmarket. But let's take a look at two sets of top 8 deck lists. So, I've combined the two events so that we'll look at all of the same ink pairings at the same time. Also worth noting now that the QwestKC 1K event that took place a couple of days ago on the 29th, they did a top 4 split. So one of these events is top 4 split, and the other one, they did play it through all the way to the end. And the winner of that event, the ETB Enter the Battlefield, was indeed SteelSong. And we've got a couple of spicy additions here, and that is kind of the theme for a couple of these deck lists that we're going to look at in this video. Okay, editor's note straight away. It has come to my attention, and to be fair, I probably should have or could have assumed this anyway, that the 4 copies of Ursula Eric's Bride that I'm about to waffle on about are most likely meant to be the 2-drop Ursula Vanessa. Again, I probably could or should have assumed that anyway, but it's been a while since ink decks have had any mistakes. And hey, wouldn't be the first time we saw something just a little bit spicy. But yeah, I do think it makes more sense if it is the 2-drop Ursula. But I've decided to just keep my review as is. Hear me waffle on a bit about Ursula Eric's Bride, why not? But yeah, just to clarify that straight away. So let's go straight to her. We are running 4 copies of Ursula Eric's Bride. 4 cost uninkable, 2/4 quest for 2. You can shift her by discarding a song card, and we are indeed not running any of the other Ursulas, so this is never shifting in, so that's irrelevant. Quest for 2, I think I've said that, and Vanessa's Design. Whenever this character quests, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. So this is the basically the ability of Bare Necessities, which we're not playing. Sometimes you'll see Bare Necessities pop up in a song deck. But yeah, in this deck we have it on a body. We're never shifting, so we're never able to just play this and then immediately quest to get this ability off. So this is quite slow. You play this on 4 or after and hope it sits there for a full turn and then gets the quest for 2 in the discard. And with only 2 strength, like Brawls and Sisus are just going to have an absolute field day. So if we were seeing copies of the Ursula Vanessa, the 2-drop, then I would super like this. I would maybe question the count. But that being said, first place, clearly something was going right this day. So yeah, this is a little bit of a shocker, but it's fun to see. We're also seeing 2 copies of Sven, who on play can ready a chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of the turn, so sing with something, then ready them, then quest them, or we're just keeping them safe, and he quests for 2 himself. So we often see Sven, we occasionally see Sven in the more mid-range builds. And for songs, we've got the traditional stuff, 4-wheel, well, not always traditional in SteelSong, but we're not a Vine variant. We're not a mine variant. What is wrong with me? Yeah, 4-wheel, 4 Zeus, 4 Strength, 4 Storm. Not breaking the wheel here, no pun intended. But we are also playing 1 copy of the world's greatest criminal mind. There you go, first one of the year. We're not playing the Queen Shift line, but still plenty of targets for this. Tamatoas, Maui Sharks. That is enough, really. Those are enough real targets. Maleficent, just for the red decks, really. But yeah, nice addition, and it's inkable. But also 1 copy of Be Our Guest. To look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose a character to put into your hand. Now, extra songs is never awful. Increase your odds to hit with Ariel. We're also playing 1 copy of the Cinderella Stouthearted, who of course also benefits from songs being played with that singing sword, meaning she can challenge ready characters. I still think Be Our Guest is a bit of a strange one. I would probably go up to 2 Criminal Mind, or even just go to Bare Necessities, although I suppose that's completely irrelevant since you're running 4 copies of Ursula. And again, I like the Ursula. I wish we were shifting onto it, and especially because we're 4 Zeus, I feel like Ursula Vanessa would be super good here. But other than that, a lot of traditional things going on. 2 copy of this Pluto guard dog with that bodyguard ability, super strong. 1 copy of that Lilo Escape Artist. We've got a Robin Hood line, 2 copies of the Daisy Duck, 2 copies of that Prince Naveen to emergency sing songs, or just sticking a Singer 6 on the board. That quest for 2 is pretty good, and 4 copies of Pete. So yeah, looking really nice. Again, these Ursulas, I don't think it's necessarily awful to run this Ursula Eric's Bride. It's not a very popular decision, but I don't think it's bad if you're running the ability to shift onto it. So, I don't know, but led them all the way to first place, so that's certainly an impressive feat, so huge congratulations to them. To try and keep the builds that are the most similar together, we will now move over to the QKC event in the top 8, piloted by Cruz. As you see, a lot of the same sort of stuff going on. 4-wheel, only 3 Zeus, 4 Storm, 4 Strength. We've got the 1 World's Greatest Criminal Mind, 2 copies of Bare Necessities. No Floodborn Ursula here, but we are running 4 copies of the 2-drop Ursula Vanessa, which is super good, being able to sing Zeus and any anything below the cost of Zeus. We're also running 2 copies of Grab Your Swords, which is far less common in SteelSong decks these days, but I do think like we should already have a good EA Tempo matchup, and this just makes it slightly better. Should certainly give you a better mirror match as well, and just against the aggro decks in general. Generally, like 2 damage on everything. Like there are a lot of characters that like significant ones that takes out, but usually I like to see this paired with something like a Tinkerbell, because like 3 suddenly you are hitting so much more. Also going to help your Green Steel matchup, obviously, although Green Steel hasn't been doing a lot so far this season, although that might completely change come North American Continentals. So yeah, I don't think I completely agree with the Swords inclusion, but it's not bad by any means. We are running 3 copies of the Gaston Baritone Bully, who has Singer 5, and with that 3 strength means we're not getting Brawled, and we're not getting Big Sisu'd unless they combine with an Ice Block. Only 3 Aerial I do think is a little sus. Like, again, when you miss, she can feel like sometimes the worst card ever, although you are still sticking a Singer 5. And we're running extra songs as well. So, yeah, this is probably my least favourite thing about the list. 4 Cinderella Born Sensation and 2 copies of Stout Hearted, 4 of the Big Pluto. We've got 2 Naveen here. Also 2 copies of Lawrence, which I really like. I think he's great and can help you set up Rapunzel traps. Really well statted is Lawrence. 2 copies of Piglet, which I think is fine. So yeah, really super strong list. I'm not completely on board with the grab swords, but I think it's fine. But 3 Aerial is probably my least favourite thing about it. But led them to top 8, so huge congratulations to them. And our final wheel variant for SteelSong in the top 8 of the QKC, we have Ken with a 2-line special, nice and neat. We are running that Robin Hood line. We've got 3 Pluto. The traditional songs are 4 Wheel, 4 Zeus, 4 Strength, 4 Storm, 4 Aerial, 3 Ursula. We're running the Escape Artist. We're also running the Donald Duck. 3 cost Ingable, 2/3 Quest for 1. He's a bodyguard, and on play you can give an extra lore pip to something. I do like Donald, but I do think that Lawrence is probably just better. Because like, yeah, the extra lore pip on something like you give the extra lore pip to the Smee or the Daisy, get an extra lore. But I think then if this is just like, as long as they played a 1 and a 2 drop, or a 3 drop as well if they're on the play, then all they need to do is like again against not red decks, Donald's fine. But I think red is so good and there's so much red. I think if this gets brawled and then your other characters that you're trying to protect just get banished. And then hey, the same is true of Lawrence. Lawrence isn't protecting, but I think just Lawrence offers a better body to put onto the board, and he's questing for 2 as well. I don't know. I think Donald is fine. I personally would be playing for Lawrence in this slot. Other than that, deck looks super nice and again really consistent, so congratulations to Ken. Going back to the ETB event in top 8, we've got Heisenbell, absolutely goated name, with a mine variant. This looks extremely similar to the Decandio version. Of course, those 4 mines that offer a passive lore, 2 to move there for a 2-cost location, and the first time you move a character there, you can do 1 damage, but if it's a knight, you can do 2 damage, and in that vein, we are running 4 copies of Dock. We're low to the ground, we want to empty our hand and try and get our card value from Dock, and 3 copies of Happy, who has evasive during your turn, so he can help you deal with Diablos that aren't a Cove, and he can even be like, you can do a Happy move to the mines to ping a genie and then challenge, assuming it's exerted, and then finish it off with the challenge. So that's pretty good. And yeah, just either of these knights moving to the mine, that 2 damage is going to be pretty good. We've got the 2 Plutos, we've got 2 Sven, which I don't think Sven was playing. I don't think Sven was playing Decandio. What is wrong with me? No one clip that. No one send him that. I don't think Decandio was playing Sven. Maybe he was. Maybe that's completely wrong. But still a nice addition. 3 copies of Kida. Decandio was definitely playing, although he was on 4. Just to not only give you that free questing turn, but it's just a really nice top deck when you spend... If you play out the match the way you would expect to, then you should have an empty hand, really, or like you should be playing off the top of the deck is the point I'm taking a super long time to get to. 4 Calhoun is just one of the best cards in the game at the moment, and like I think one of the reasons to play Steel in a 2-game format, because she just is super good on the draw. So yeah, really spicy looking list. Again, check out the Decandio interview. Again, it's not this exact list, but it's very similar in the same concept, for a full breakdown on for a pretty detailed breakdown on his thoughts and going over the deck. But yeah, clearly served Heisenbell well, so congratulations to them. And also in top 8 of the ETB event, we have Mark with another version that is very, very similar to what we just looked at and the DeCandio version. But Mark is playing Rapunzel's Tower, which is one of the cards that DeCandio mentioned as, like, we were talking about cards he considered for the list and might make their way in for at least testing at some point. And this was one card that he mentioned. 2 cost Inkable, 1 to move there, 8 willpower, and characters get +3 willpower by there, and that is a big jump in willpower. That's really going to mess with the opponent's maths. So yeah, you love to see it, and I think nearly the rest of the list exactly the same. They're not playing the Sven, but I don't think DeCandio was playing the Sven. Maybe he mentioned it as a consideration, but yeah, again, super strong looking list, and like this, it's nice to see. Again, I've said this a few times, but it's nice to see ink combinations now have more ways that they can go in how you can build them. And yeah, like again, we've got the wheel version and we've got this mine version, so you know we're not breaking any records here, but it's a good sign of things to come, I would say. So congratulations to Mark. And our final Amber Steel list, I've been calling them all SteelSong, and they're not really. I think if you run Aerial, you're SteelSong. This is mines. This is Steel Amber Mines, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, our final Amber Steel list is Brandon with another really nice looking 2-line special, nice and neat. Those 4 copies of the mines. I think this is DeCandio's exact list now. I think we've looked at a couple of variations, trying out some techs, but I think this is a card for card of the DeCandio list. No, I think he was actually playing less Pluto because that was a discussion point, and he was definitely playing 4 Kida. The core of the deck remains the same, so again, a huge congratulations to Brandon. All right, going back to second place for the ETB event. To no one's surprise, we have some Ruby Sapphire Shark. I think that's what this is. It's Ruby Sapphire Shark. But we are seeing 3 copies of that McDuck Manor, which has been gaining popularity. 4 cost Inkable location, 1 to move there, although it should never matter unless you're going for the style points. Always move into the Manor if you get, like, if you've got ink to spare. This is for style points. But yeah, 9 willpower, 2 passive law gain. This can be a lot to ask opponents to answer. Of course, Crab is gaining popularity again, not only in EA Tempo, but in Ruby Amethyst again, despite kind of not being in the majority of Ruby Amethyst lists for a while. A lot of decks are cutting down their Mauis that might adapt in response to this, and people might start playing more again. But the fact remains, if you drop a mana at a point where they can't deal with it, or you just have a strong curve where like the mana is not the only thing they need to deal with or even the priority, then this can be absolutely incredible. And I think what a world. Like, it was all about Castle and Cove, and now Ruby Amethyst is like, no one's playing Castles. The Emerald Steel decks are likely still playing Cove, but we're just not seeing them do anything at the moment. Again, that could all change at North American Continentals. But is it controversial to say that currently the best location in meta is McDuck Manor? Food for thought. We're also playing 1 copy of Great Stone Dragon. Not seeing that Fishbone Quill is pretty much the norm these days. Players saying they do not need it. We've got 3 copies of How Far I'll Go. We've got 4 Sail. We've got 4 T-Bow. This is such, like, this is garbage, man. Like, all their 2-turn ramp is inkable. Like, why? Why? Why is all the 2-turn ramp inkable? So yeah, they just don't need it. We got the 2 ice blocks. We are not playing any copies of Big Sisu. What a statement. What a statement. Like, 2B preps, I mean, hopefully we're getting them back. Like, we got 4 Shark here. Only 2 Tamatoa surprised me when I started seeing it, but I'm seeing more and more players do this now, so I guess it's right. Or fine. We're still playing 3 copies of the Daring Visitor, which is still good for, like, there's lots of characters of only 1 strength, and obviously Ice Blocks lets you hit even more. But we're seeing 3 copies of the Emboldened Warrior, which is very rare for Ruby Sapphire, but not awful by any means. Thing is, if you're going to do this, like, I think run the Flynn. Like, do what Reese did at the European Championship. First seed. 2nd place in Disney Lorcana. What is wrong with me? Disney Lorcana Challenge, Lil. 2nd place, losing only to Frank Carsten, and then 1st seed at the European Championships with a Flynn, Sisu, McDuck mana curve. So yeah, if you're going to run this Sisu, I think throw the Flynn in there, why not? This Pirate's Life scares me as a Ruby Amethyst player. I think if it wasn't for this Pirate's Life, we'd be fine. Like, I've always been quite a strong voice for, like, Ruby Amethyst is, like, good into Ruby Sapphire. Like, you can still lose, of course, and, like, against, like, I will still lose to, even if I'm on the play, I'm losing to Sailor piloting this deck, 100%. But generally, I've always said it felt like a pretty good matchup. And it still can, but this Pirate's Life is tilting, bro. But yeah, other than that, not a lot out of the ordinary. We've got 2 Vitalisphere to complement the Maui, and of course can combine with the Maleficent to take out opposing Mukduk Manners, Maui Shark doing Maui Shark things. But yeah, I like it. I think put the Flynn in if you're going to go down this road. But nonetheless, a huge congratulations to Lazaro. On to the other Ruby Sapphire list from the ETB event. Piloted by Curtis. Unfortunately, we only have 55 cards. I did, this is via inkdex.com. Thank you to them. As always, and I have tweeted them saying, yo, do we know what these missing 5 cards are? And if and when they get back to me, I always link the deck list down below. If and when that information comes, I will edit I won't be able to do anything about this video, obviously, but the deck list down below, I will edit it to make it reflect what it actually is. I did mean to say here, but apparently I didn't, that 4 of these slots are most likely Flavisham, and the last one could easily be a Shark. But yeah, I think we can quite safely assume that there should be 4 Flavisham here. We are playing 2 copies of Lucky Dime. A lot of players opting to cut this dime. A lot of Ruby Sapphire players feeling it's just too slow in this heightened, this fast-paced meta. And I would be inclined to agree, but I think the dime does give you a better Ruby Amethyst matchup. But just play 2 Pirates Life or 3 Pirates Life, and you probably win anyway. We are playing 1 copy of Fishbone Quill. We are playing 2 copies of Big Sisu, 1 Hideaway. The obviously standout thing here, other than the fact it's 55 cards, is the Energy Blast, which I low-key really, really like. Those of you that, probably not a lot of you, but those of you that keep an eye on my Dreamborn, my Ruby Amethyst list that I make public, might have seen that I was playing around with this Energy Blast for at a point in time. Along with, I was on like 3 B prep and 1 energy blast. Because again, sometimes you don't want to B prep. Sometimes you just need to get rid of one thing. And the drawing one card is pretty great. Ultimately, I think in Ruby Amethyst it's definitely wrong. But in Ruby Sapphire with Shark, I think there's something to be said for this. It would not surprise me to see a Ruby Sapphire list top, day 2 Continentals with Energy Blast. My hot take for the day. But yeah, not a lot more we can really say, especially without the full list. Nice to see the Medusas here, which isn't always the case at the moment. 3 Tamatoa. But yeah, deck looks good. Can't wait to see the rest. Oh, 2 How Far I'll Go I think is low. 2 Brawl is like, I think probably wrong, but also whatever, because you've got the Sisus. I think like maybe if you're running 3 Daring Visitor and then 3 Brawl. I don't know. I want more How Far I'll Go, definitely. And just to know what the other 5 cards are. But that's not Curtis's fault. But nonetheless, a huge congratulations to them. And our final Ruby Sapphire list, going over to the QKC, we have Chris, 61 cards. We are playing 3 copies of Mukduk Mana, that 1 copy of Lucky Dime, but 3 copies of Pirate's Life. I don't know if this dime is needed if you're running 3 Pirate, but I dare say they're a far better and more experienced Ruby Sapphire player than me. So fair game, boss. But yeah, this looks very, very traditional. 3 Daring Visitor and 3 of the Empowered Sibling. We've got 4 Brawl in here. Even 4 B Prep, which some would say is a lot. A lot of lists are running 2, which I think is low. I think 3 would probably be my personal sweet spot. But all in here, only 2 copies of Mali Dragon I do think is low. Especially for the mirror. But I suppose that's why we have B Preps. But I don't know, like it just feels better. Like if you've got something on board, it just always feels better to Dragon than to have to be prep against their Toa, their Shark, whatever. So yeah, I probably want more Maleficents than this. Other than that, deck looks super, super nice. So congratulations to Chris. Moving over to the top 4 of the QKC, we have Tony with some EA Tempo. Just win the game. Once again, we have 61 cards. A lot traditional going on here, but then one huge explanation point. We are running 2 copies of Under the Sea, which is an 8-cost uninkable, sing together 8. Put all opposing characters of 2 strength or less on the bottom of their player's deck in any order. We have no ways of manipulating strength in this deck. So we are just preying on the decks that are already low to the ground. So the Mirror Match, Amethyst Steel, and SteelSong, really. Even to be fair, again, against Ruby Amethyst and Ruby Sapphire have a few things that will be hit like this, hit by this. Flavisham, Sisu Daring Visitor, Genies, Rabbits, things like that. So yeah, fair enough. And to be fair, we've got 4 Genie and 4 Goat. Like those, you probably don't want to sing with Genie. You'd rather quest, but a couple of Goats or like an Elsa and a Cloud Kicker or an Elsa and a Rose seems pretty fair game. We are running 3 copies of Bonsai, so we should be better into the Ruby Sapphire matchups, worse into the Steel matchups. 8 1-drops very much 12 1-drops very much becoming the norm for pretty much all Amethyst decks at this point in time. 4 copies of that Go-Go that can just win the game out of nowhere. 3 Bell to help us in the Genie Wars, another nice niche case uses. And we're running 3 copies of Ana, 3 cost uninkable, 2/3 quest for 1. On play, you can pay an extra 2 ink to either make your opponent discard a card, you can choose a character to get +2 strength this turn, or banish a chosen damage character. So a lot of flexibility from this card. 12 uninkables is nice. No Merfolk is certainly interesting. I definitely would want to be including Merfolks. But other than that, list looks really, really nice. And yeah, a nice innovative inclusion of Under the Sea in this particular deck. So congratulations to Tony. Also in top 4 of the QKC, we have Corey, a very similar build, but we are running those 4 copies of the Cursed Merfolk. We are running 2 Rabbits alongside our Genies, and we are running that Clarabelle engine. 3 copies of the 1-drop, who on play you can pay an extra 2 to banish an item, which is not insignificant at all. And of course, 4 copies of the Floodborn Light on her Hooves at the end of your turn. If your opponent has more cards in the hand than you, draw until you have the same amount, so we can really aggressively play to the field if we've got a Clarabelle down, and if our opponent's got a nice big juicy hand size. And of course these 4 crab that complement our 1-drops really, really well. Only 2 snakes is, I mean, fine. Artabax ran a version of EA Tempo with no snakes, even though he said sometimes you do miss them, so 2 sounds like a pretty sweet spot. So it looks good. Congratulations to Corey. And our final EA Tempo list, going over to ETB, we have Pub Thug in the top 8. They're on the Cursed Merfolk. They're also playing 1 copy of Pegasus, which can be a nice annoying quester, but of course also combined with Crab, can get rid of opposing Genies or Diablos at Cove, things like that. We are running 1 copy of the Ursula Sea Witch Queen, which can shift onto the one of the 4 copies of the Ursula Deceiver, which of course all the EA Tempo lists are running. And yeah, this Floodborn being able to exert opposing characters when you quest, and just stop characters from exerting to sing songs, and questing for 3 out of nowhere are all super good things. And we're running 2 copies of Cricky to give us strong challenging turns out of nowhere, and he in and of himself, I always get that phrase wrong, I need to stop saying it, but nonetheless, quest for 3 is the point there. And we are also running 1 copy of Loud Tiberius Rock. While on play you give a character Reckless, and while he's in play, whenever one of your other characters is banished, each opponent loses 1 lore, which can give you a really nice bit of catch up in the deck. So yeah, it looks nice. I don't know how well EA Tempo is positioned at the moment. It should have good Ruby Amethyst matchups, although in 2-game format I would expect a split a lot of the time. But in 2 out of 3, like, EA Tempo is pretty favoured. I don't know, I just think you struggle with Ruby Sapphire. I know you're fast and they're slow, but like with 3 Sisu and shifting that on 6, I think it can just bring your world down, or at least, you know, that's kind of been the opinion I've heard from more seasoned EA Tempo players. But it's a deck that always comes back and performs well, so yeah, great to see it doing well here. Congratulations to Pub Thug. Next, moving on to some Amethyst Steel. In the top 4 of the QKC, we have Gabe with a nice mid-range version. We're running 11 1-drops, typical ones, opting for just 3 copies of the Magic Broom, which I don't completely disagree with. I think Diablo, like with a high counter Crab, Diablo can be better. It only really feels bad if you're on the draw and they play their own, like, Chernobog and you don't have a damage. That can be quite bad, but I think later on in the game, Diablos are certainly better, running 3 copies of Calhoun, who we've already talked about just how good she is on the draw, letting you catch up, and even on the play, she's fine. We're either running 3 copies of Doc, pretty traditional bounce package, 3 Snake, 4 Fox, 3 Crab, 4 Goat, no Rabbits in here, but we are running 4 copies of Genie. We've got 4 Rose for the extra lore gain, 4 Pete to shut down those actions, 3 Elsa, 2 Bell, 1 copy of the Big Bad Gantu, quest for 4, running 2 Cannons and 4 Strength for the Raging for be a man, with all the force of a great... Sorry. And we're running 1 copy of Giant Fairy Tinkerbell. So a reason to go to 6 ink. I mean, you'd probably want to go to that anyway, so you can open up like Goat Bounce and just give yourself more that you can do in a turn. But yeah, the one-off Tinkerbell I think is perfectly fine as an extra mid-range character. And yeah, Amethyst Steel... There's a lot of very devoted fans to Amethyst Steel. I think it's super dangerous in a Ruby Sapphire format, but you got some big dudes here with the goats, the bells. I mean, Bell isn't great into Ruby Sapphire anyway. Not much of this is really, but hey, sometimes you will just win the race, and I think you could expect a split in a 2-game format. So congratulations to Gabe. And our other Amethyst Steel list, one that is very near and dear to my heart. We got Matt in the QKC with some more Jafar Striking Illusionist. His reign is coming. People are excited for the reign of Jafar. They are wrapping him. They're getting ready. And I absolutely love to see it. While exerted, whenever you draw, you gain 1 lore. So best case scenario, we play a whole new world where we can draw 7 and gain 7. We have no other shift lines here. Oh, no, we do. We're running 2 copies of the Giant Fairy Tinkerbell and 4 copies of the Fast Flyer, who's a 1/3 quest for 2 with evasive. But yeah, we could shift this Tinkerbell. So yeah, there are worlds where, I mean, we're not running a shift target for this Jafar, which is one, like, in some ways I think it's mad, but in other ways I think it can make a lot of sense, because the high roll, I suppose, is you play your Royal Vizier on 2 and it survives till 5 so that you can... Because you could Royal Vizier, then play Tink on 3, do something on 4, shift Tink on 4, and then shift your Jafar on 5, sing wheel, draw another wheel, sing wheel with the Tinkerbell. But that's one heck of a high roll. And I suppose maybe Royal Vizier can maybe feel a little slow. I don't think it's that slow. It's got the 3 strength. But I suppose this deck is just saying, in the early turns, I would rather be playing characters that I'm happy to turn sideways with, whether that's because I'm questing or I'm challenging, which, if you're playing Royal Vizier and you want to shift it, you want to keep it safe. So I think it's probably just putting more value on those early turns being more aggressive and more able to combat the board, and you just hopefully get to this point in the game with 7 ink, where you're able to play the Jafar and it sticks, and it's like a closer. I still think you're asking for a lot if you're not playing this until turn 7 at the earliest. You probably just get Mally Dragoned, and there's so, like, you're even seeing things like Dragon's Fire and Bee Kings. Of course, Bee King and Tremaine aren't always going to hit the Jafar if you've got extra characters out, but yeah, I don't know. I think I get the concept here of why they wanted to not play Baby Jafars, but I mean, even then, at the very least, like, you can just play the Dreadnoughts. I think that's quite reasonable. Yeah, I think it's a little bit fascinating. 2 copies of Fire the Cans I really like. 4 Friends, 3 Storm is, yeah, we're running the Tinkerbells, so that seems good. 2 Strength, 4 Whole New World, 2 Grab Your Swords. I mean, Grab Swords with Tinkerbell is good. I don't know if the swords are necessarily needed. Rest of the list looks really, really nice. We're even running Captain Hook, so we've got a captain for Mr. Smee, and again, just more ways to contest the board. I think I just want Dreadnought in here, and I'd probably shave off the swords, but love Striking Illusionist. Always happy to see this deck do well, so a huge congratulations to Matt. And to finish us off, we've got 2 aggro decks to look at. No Ruby Amethyst. Worth bearing in mind. In the top 8 of the QKC, we have Max with some Amber Amethyst Hyper Aggro. We've got all the questing dudes. We've got 4 Daisy, 4 Lilo, 4 Maleficent. We've got 4 Lilo Escape Artists as well for against the red deck. Super, super strong. We've got 3 Diablo for the extra draw, and of course combined with Crab could be really nice. 4 of that Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain. 2 Simba to keep our guys safe. We've got a bit of a bounce engine. 4 Snake to keep guys safe. 4 Fox to keep guys safe and contest the board. Already mentioned the Crab. We are running 4 copies of Donald Duck, which in this in combination, absolutely 100% play this. 3 Rose, 4 Goat for that lore gain. Also 2 Genies and 2 Dolores Madrigal on play. If your opponent has an exerted character, you may draw a card, which is super nice. We've got 2 copies of Elsa to give us a little bit more board control, and in the mirror, this is going to be super nice. 3 Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom for that instant lore gain. 2 Friends, and 3 copies of the library. That can be a super annoying location and just help you stay in the game and keep you having resources while your characters are being banished. So yeah, Hyper Aggro always seems to start to sizzle a little bit just before a European or before a large event, before a large official Disney Lorcana event. There are always murmurings of Hyper Aggro, and Are they going to be exaggerated, or are they going to be very much true? Be prepared for Hyper Aggro if you are competing at the Continental Championship, especially in LCQs, because some people just go, YOLO, right? Let's just see if we can Hyper Aggro our way through a 32-person pod. But yeah, list looks really nice. Congratulations to Max. And to finish us off, also on Hyper Aggro, in the top 4 of the ETB event, we have level 9001, a former Disney Lorcana Challenge champion over in the States. Can't remember which one off the top of my head, but a DLC champion nonetheless. Also on that Hyper Aggro, a lot of similar things, although we're running 3 copies of Nala. You just want 1 drops, and again, Nala working with Rapunzel can be really, really nice. We've got the Daisies, we've got the Shernas, we've got the Piglets, we've got a bounce engine here with 4 Snake and 4 Crab. We're running 4 Rapunzel in this list, absent from the previous. We're also running 3 copies of Mufasa to help us keep tempo on the board. We don't need to be cheating out huge guys necessarily. We just want to keep stuff on the board. But if we can bring out like a Genie, a Goat, another Mufasa, an Elsa to exert something so it now suddenly can't challenge your board, or of course that big bad Chernabog, then this is really, really nice. But the card that I really like in here is Madam Mim, Tiny Adversary. Let's go. Let's go. 2 cost Inkable, 0-3, Quest for 1, Challenger 1, and Zim Zababim Bim. Wait, did I say that? Zabarim? Zabarim. Zim Zabarim Bim. Zim Zabarim Bim. There you go. Your other characters gain Challenger 1. Just this Challenger 1 to everything else is going to really, really change maths. Even just your Diablo suddenly now hitting 1 and being able to take out that Chernabog that they thought was safe can be really, really nice. Now Peter Pan Shadowfinder, which we're running 2 copies of, is taking out Diablo at Cove. Yeah, it's just going to fix your maths and be so annoying for the opponent. So, yeah, I really like the couple of copies of Madam Mim, and, like, no one's going to play around that. So, yeah, with Diablo especially, really good. And with Nala as well, like, if they take a quest with a Chernabog thinking that they're safe. So, yeah, and, of course, this can stack if you can get multiple tiny adversaries. And, of course, this Chernabog makes all the sense. We should be going through characters lightning quick. So, yeah, it looks really nice. And, yeah, being piloted by a DLC champion, you've got to put some respect on the name, so huge congratulations to them. And that is it for our 2 sets of top 8 deck lists from the tail end events from 2024. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to any deck lists that are going to drop over the next few days and just getting as much data as we can as we move into Continental Championships, and of course to help me with my Ultra Data project. But yeah, I'm going to wrap us up because I waffled on a bit right at the beginning of the video, but that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.